Hey, what's up, YouTube world? It's your girl, the Venusian Bull. I am back again, and we are at the culmination of the Planets in the Houses series because we are now going to be discussing the ethereal, majestic, mystical, spiritual 12th house. Yes, that's what we are getting into. So, you know how we do an introduction video. First off, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to my channel. Make sure you go ahead and click that like button, and we engage over here. We discuss in the comments, so make sure you go ahead and do that as well, okay? So to kind of give a brief overview of the 12th house, and it's kind of difficult to give a brief overview of the 12th house because it's just so deep and there's so many things. It's a very multifaceted house, and there's a lot of different components to the 12th house, and throughout the planets I will be discussing different facets of the 12th house. So if I happen to forget something in one video, just don't forget to watch them all, okay? I tell y'all this in all of the videos, and also be sure that understand that these are general characteristics, and everything may not apply to you specifically because depending on what sign you have on the 12th house cusp, what aspects the specific planet is making, and things of that nature. So you have to keep that in mind. I always say that, I always stress that, okay? So the generalization of the 12th house. This is a very, like I mentioned before, this is a spiritual house. This is a mystical house. This is a house of creativity. This is a house of compassion. This is a house of artistic expression and talent of all of the arts. We're talking performing arts, visual arts, film, editing, all of that type of stuff, anything beauty related, hair, makeup, all of that type of thing. Obviously this is a house that's big on spirituality, so anything having to do with astrology or tarot, this is like the quintessential, you know, head wrap lady kind of woman energy with the candles burning the sage, okay? This is the 12th house. That's her. That's this energy, okay? And you know, the 12th house is very akin to Pisces, okay? So a lot of these traits are going to be similar if you happen to have Pisces placements or heavy Neptunian energy as well, okay? So also, to kind of get on the negative end of Pisces, of the 12th house, this house also has to deal with imprisonment, has to deal with addiction, it has to deal with delusions and, you know, like delusions of grandeur, seeing things with rose-colored glasses, being too idealistic, putting people up on a pedestal and things like that. This also has to deal with homelessness. This has to deal with isolation. It has to deal with like mental health issues. It can literally have to deal with you drowning, like physically, because this house does represent the ocean and deep waters and things of that nature. This house also represents dreams, okay? Very prophetic dreams. So if you happen to have heavy 12th house energy, make sure you're paying attention to your dreams because that stuff just might come true, okay? It may come to fruition. This is a very intuitive house. This house, if you have this energy, you know about things that are going to happen before they happen. This is a very sensitive energy. You feel people's energy and you can tell if it's toxic or not, but just make sure, you know, that you're using discernment, you know, because rose-colored glasses and all of that type of stuff, okay? So, you know, just keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure I'm missing some things, but we'll get into all of the logistics of the 12th house and the deep ocean of secrets. Oh, secretive. Forgot to mention that. This house is very secretive, and it can also be kind of like, you know, aloof and things like that, and just, you know, kind of subdued and kind of quiet and things of that nature. And we can't forget about, unfortunately, the thievery and the cheating and the stealing and things of that nature. But it does provide some insulation, so you can be protected with this energy as well if you use it right, okay? So we're going to get into all of the logistics of that. I'm sure that as I go through the planets, I'm going to cover everything, I promise y'all. So make sure you stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe, and we're going to get into the planets in the 12th house. All right? All right, you guys. So we have reached the culmination of not only the planets in the 12th house, but the planets in the houses series. Woo! So excited. You know, 12 is the number of completion and all of that. So we are finally here. It took me a long ass time to get here. I started doing these videos in December of 2019. And what is it? It is, well, at the time of filming, it's still July 2021, but by the time this video comes out, it'll be August. But it took me a long time to get through this, you know, a year and a half. So I just want to congratulate myself on committing and staying through this with my Mars and Cancer energy having to be in the mood to do shit. So thank you guys all for being on this ride with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for liking and commenting and subscribing and being engaging and just, you know, giving me such incredible, wonderful feedback. Love all you guys. Okay, so now we get into Pluto in the 12th house, okay? So this is my placement. I know y'all was wondering, where is Venusian's Pluto? It's in the 12th house. So I am kind of familiar with 12th house energy because I got Pluto there. This is Pluto in Scorpio generation, okay? So if you got that, you know what I'm saying? We millennials up in here, but it's in the 12th house. So, you know, y'all can relate, okay? Pluto in the 12th house is similar to having Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto in Pisces, or having Scorpio on the 12th house cusp, okay? All right, we got to get serious about Pluto in the 12th house. Pluto in the 12th house is about really understanding your internal power. Because, you know, Pluto has to deal with power and it has to deal with evolution and transformation. So with it being in the 12th house, the 12th house is so secluded. It's secretive. It's imaginative. It's of the other dimensions. It's not real. So your evolutions and your transformations and your power that you have, people don't always see it. You know, it's not something that you can see with the naked eye. It's something that you can feel, you can sense, you know what I'm saying? You can sense like spirit providing you with tools, providing you with gifts, providing you with power, providing you with the, you know, transformative measures that you need to kind of transform your life psychologically, emotionally, and things like that. This is not about the material world. It's not about having power over people. This is having power and complete control over yourself and your psyche, right? So it's deep. Let me tell you something. Because it took me a while to understand the Pluto in the 12th house energy. Because for so long I was like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But now we're getting there to, you know, to understanding and things like that. So Pluto in the 12th house can also be, you know, Pluto is already a very private planet and things like that. And 12th house is very secretive. So the things that you have going on in your mind, your internal thoughts, your deep psychosis of yourself and your mind and your psyche, you keep a lot of those things to yourself. Obviously, you do discuss that with a therapist. I forgot to mention the Neptune in the 12th house video. Get yourself a therapist. I know you know everything, you see all, you can be all whatever, but get a therapist, okay? Back to Pluto in the 12th house. Also, please have a therapist so that you can have at least one outlet that you can kind of explain these feelings, these internal things, internal psychological things that are going on with you, right? Also, like internal psychological wounds and things like that that you may experience, because Pluto, it does have to deal with trauma and it has to deal with death. There's a lot of death and rebirth that's happening within you. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of dying and coming back to life, like lots of times. You're being reborn a new person all the time. But again, people don't always see that. You know what I'm saying? They just see the body, because most people, you know, are very surface level, very shallow. Pluto in the 12th house, this is very, very deep energy. This is not energy for the faint at heart. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody who analyzes everything and looks psychologically into everything. This is a detective, okay? This is an investigator, okay? This is an investigator of spirituality. This is an investigator of psychology, an investigator of, you know, emotional abandonment. It just like anything that kind of has to deal with, you know, the psyche and investigating even, you know, the death of people. And, you know, obviously mediumship is a big thing with this placement, being able to speak to people on the other side and open up the portals. This is an energy that I would say is not really afraid of death, or dying. It's more of like, did you leave a mark that you can, you know, in terms of your spirit, is your spirit free? Is your spirit fulfilled? Was your spirit able to evolve? You know what I'm saying? Because your spirit lives on. So that's the most important thing, you know, to remember about this placement. Another thing is Pluto. You know, we can't forget Pluto has to deal with sex. So like secret sex, like everything about your sex life is secret. You don't tell nobody shit about your sex life. But you're also kind of into maybe like fantasy, maybe like role playing type of things. There's a lot of like underground type of sexual activities that can be done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about like OnlyFans and like, you know, using a fake name and stuff like that, like underground, you know, parties and sex clubs and things of that nature. And like role playing is probably, you know, a kink or something like that, among many others, because Pluto is there, and I don't subscribe to this. I know I got Pluto in the 12th, but y'all can be nasty, okay? Nasty. All right, Pluto has to deal with waste. So I'm gonna say about that, okay? Y'all can connect the dots with that, okay? When we're talking about the kinks, all right? This is also like BDSM. Remember when I talked about the whole slave thing? But Pluto in the 12th house is more about the dominatrix. Actually, they could probably switch up. They could probably be the sub and the dom. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Pluto in the 12th house, because it's still kind of like, oh, the damsel in distress, I need help. But it's also like, I'll crack that whip, right? So yes. So also Pluto in the 12th house, like, you know, experiencing that, like that kind of Kundalini awakening and stuff like that. That could be something that's very prominent. Visions. You could have visions while you're having sex. You know what I'm saying? Manifest when you're climaxing. Manifest things. It can come true. Pluto in the 12th house. Like the thing about the 12th house is that it shows you where you can be psychic and where you're able to, you know, utilize your intuition to the fullest. And with Pluto there, I mean, you know, sex. You know what I'm saying? So there it is. And I mentioned this in the 8th house. It was an episode of Lovecraft Country. Y'all know I love that show. Y'all know I talk about this shit all the time. But it was the 6th episode where the Korean girl, she had a I forget what it was called. I'll put it in here. She was basically like this entity. She had this spirit, this energy inside of her that looked like a snake or a dragon or some sort that came out when she had an orgasm, basically, with a man. And she would see his whole life flash before his eyes, and then he would die. So I'm not saying that Pluto in the 12th house, you're gonna like kill people when you have sex with them. You maybe could have the power to do that. But, but if you manifest it, but it was just like, it was something that was uncontrollable. Like she couldn't control it. So you have to understand that Pluto has to deal with control, you know, so you want to have control over these spirits and these entities or these demons, that are getting inside of you, because, you know, Pluto on that low manifestation can be very dark. It can be very evil. It can be even, you know, satanic in certain ways. So devilish. So you really have to be like mindful of that energy. Typically with it being in the 12th house, you know, 12th house is very compassionate. It's very much a humanitarian and things like that. With Pluto there though, it could kind of exhibit those negative traits of the 12th house, you know, the overusing of the drugs, the addiction, the alcoholism, the stealing, and the criminality. I mean, y'all can get away with shit. Y'all can get away with murder. Viola said it, okay? Well, I should say Annalise Keating said it. So very much How to Get Away with Murder. Pluto in the 12th house. Like maybe even like kleptomaniac. Like I keep saying like Pluto is the criminal of the zodiac. Like y'all are. And with Pluto being in the 12th, it's like hanging out in the cut. It's like this kind of secretive thing. It could kind of swim and slither along, and you know, y'all can really like get away with shit. Y'all can get away with stealing shit. Y'all can get over on people. Y'all use your kindness as a weapon to like do whatever with people. You know what I'm saying? Like that energy, that it's like that quiet power, that quiet sexual energy is very palpable in the 12th house. So you have to understand, I always say wherever Pluto is, you need to learn how to utilize that energy in that kind of light manifestation, because it's very easy wherever Pluto is to go dark and to go evil and to be manipulative. You know, you can be manipulative with spirituality. You can be manipulative when you're providing readings to people. You can be manipulative with your kindness. You know what I'm saying? You could be, you know, harmful, you know what I'm saying, to yourself. Self-harm, self-inflicting harm. Have we talked about that yet in this house? Okay, we have to talk about it, because Pluto does represent like surgery and cutting yourself and things of that nature. So like, yeah, cutting yourself, self-mutilation is kind of a big thing with Pluto in the 12th house, especially because this is the suicide house. Like a lot of people, you know, it's something about controlling your own death with Pluto in the 12th house that can be appealing. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes when you feel like really depressed and you feel like you can't go on, and all of this trauma and all of this, you know, weight is on your shoulders, you feel like you want to control your pain. So that's another thing, internal pain. And you could be doing a lot of these like self-mutilation things and nobody know about it. Like you can hide it. You know, you just wear long sleeve shirts all the time or wherever you cutting yourself up and stuff like that. You can even like maybe even get tattoos to cover up the scars and stuff like that. You may be big on the tattoos and things of that nature. But it's always something about inflicting pain and causing your own pain. And this also could be a result of spirit taking over or you being possessed and that causing you pain. But it's almost a euphoric state for you to be in pain. It's almost like a high. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're like mixing that with drugs, but please don't mix that with drugs, you know. But you know how when you take certain drugs, you know, like certain things are numbing. You know what I'm saying to you? So that could be a thing that you do, you know, you sniff the coke, you take the heroin, and then, you know, then that's when you try to, you know, do kind of like the self-mutilation thing and all of that type of stuff. I know we're getting dark, but you know, this is Pluto, you know, and this is the 12th house, so we get deep and we get dark. Okay. So that is something that maybe could manifest. But I think the biggest thing, the most important thing to take away from Pluto in the 12th house is that internal power that you have, that no one can take away from you. You know what I'm saying? It's always there. You know, it may be really small, but that internal power can grow if you allow it to grow. All you have to do, in my opinion, is welcome in that light energy, that light manifestation, the light spirits. So it's very, you have to be very conscious and very cognizant of being around anything that's of light, anything that's positive and stuff like that. If you're around dark energy, that's going to influence that's going to influence the way that you act in your character, especially internally, especially psychologically. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that the energy that you're around is of the light manifestation. And when you sense anything that's of the dark manifestation, you need to not be around that. You need to get away, maybe do a spell, you know, get that motherfucker out of your life, or something like that. I'm not saying you gotta kill him. I don't understand it's Pluto. Y'all jump to conclusions now, Pluto, okay? But sometimes you have to take extra measures. Okay, you got to take spiritual measures to get people out of your life. Because doing it the physical way, like sometimes, you know, getting the law involved, or, you know, just telling them or writing a letter, that sometimes, or even just like punching them in the face. Sometimes I don't do it. Sometimes you have to spiritually remove them from your energy, from your psyche. You have to spiritually remove them. Sometimes you have to do it like that. And that sometimes can entail doing spells, you know, having different, you know, like herbs and stuff like that. Y'all probably have an altar or something like that. I need to work on getting my altar. You know what I'm saying? I need to get that together for the ancestors and things like that. Y'all probably got y'all Florida water. This is a very like spiritual placement. It's a very, someone who's very, and this is something that's developed over time, especially if you don't have a lot of other water energy in your chart. It could take a while for you to really understand the power of the Pluto in the 12th, okay? But once you do understand that spiritual power, I do feel like sky is the limit in terms of what you can do with that and what you're able, you know, to manifest. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still working on that. It's still a work in progress for me. Blessed that I don't have any challenging aspects to my Pluto. So I think that that's why I kind of haven't gotten real like mixed up into a lot of things and things like that. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible. Okay. So just know that it's, you know, the possibility to get really dark or to have really dark entities be around you is probable. Also, I don't remember which video I mentioned this in, but having sex with dead people, yeah, Pluto in the 12th house, that's a thing. Having sex with ghosts, yes, you may potentially be in those types of situations. And just, you know, you may be able to, like, if any of your partners have passed away, you may be able to speak to them, especially if like there was a sexual connection or a physical connection. I gotta keep it 100. You gotta bring it back. Pluto deals with sex, so we gotta, you know, this is how you're able to most effectively manifest and utilize your intuition and your power. And a lot of times that happens through sex. And if you're someone who is not a sexual person, because the 12th house isn't particularly very sexual in nature in terms of their energy, but Pluto is, it could be maybe just like masturbation, and you can manifest that way, you know, and things of that nature. So that could be cool. Also, like you could maybe have orgasms and climaxes without the genitals actually being stimulated. I believe I mentioned this in another video as well. Maybe it was Mars or something along those lines. So yes, very sensitive energy. The body is also very sensitive, and it can absorb a lot of things. So you have to be careful with the people that you attract and partners, and be careful of predators. Because Pluto does represent predators. Pluto represents, you know, sexual predators, to be specific. So definitely, you know, be on the lookout for that always and forever. That can have any kind of negative experiences with that can have a real psychological effect on you internally. So I just want to make you aware of that. It's kind of similar to the 8th house, but it's a little bit more spiritual in the sense of the possibility of being on the light side. You know what I'm saying? And the power, the greatest power is the power that you have within yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's your spirit, it's your soul, it's like your God. You know what I'm saying? God lives within you. If that's, you know, the things that you believe and stuff like that, then that's Pluto in the 12th house. Like that's the almighty energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's super powerful if you, you know, understand how to work it and utilize that energy and things like that. Also, like I've mentioned in many of the other videos, artistic gifts are palpable. Any type of, you know, spiritual divination gifts are palpable. You're just a lot more perceptive, and your discernment is a lot stronger than some of the other placements in the 12th house. I will say that. Um, but yeah, it's all about that internal transformation. Like you can feel like a totally different person from 5 years ago. Nobody can physically see it. Like they may not even sense it when they talk to you, but you know that you physically evolved. I mean, that you've spiritually evolved, that you've emotionally evolved. You know what I'm saying? You know that. And that's really all that matters. You know what I'm saying? It's not about other people. You know what I'm saying? Even though Pluto does represent like collaboration in others, but when it comes to your spiritual awakening and your spiritual evolution, it's all about in here. Okay? So I think I drove that point home well enough here. So I want to thank everyone for sticking around with me on this Planets in the Houses series. I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you happen to have this placement, especially if you're in the Pluto and Scorpio generation and you happen to have this placement, please sound off in the comments. Let me know how this is affecting you. Let me know what's going on with that. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, share, tell all your friends. And we did it. It's the end of the series. And yeah, let me know how you felt about the series overall. And let me know also if you want me to kind of do a video culminating the Planets in the Houses series and things like that, and kind of talk about, you know, the high points and the low points of it, and, you know, comments and stuff like that. Let me know if you want me to put y'all on blast. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody. This is the series that helped my channel to grow, so I'll be forever grateful for you guys. So once again, thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.